This plant in Grow a Garden is theoretically valued at 1 Google shekels. That's 10 raised to the power of 100, or 10 followed by 100 zeros. But get this plant isn't a bone blossom or a great pumpkin, neither is it an admin exclusive plant. It's actually just a standard ember lily, because after weeks of studying mutations and researching, the ember lily has some extremely weird and unique characteristics which make its value skyrocket to 1 Google. And no, this isn't clickbait, this is completely real, but that's just one of the 4 plants which can theoretically get insane values like this. In this video, I'm going to show you 4 concept plants that are so rare that they shouldn't even exist in Grow a Garden. So let's find the most expensive fruit ever, starting from the summer harvest event, where there was a glitch so overpowered you could get insanely massive fruits like these. It was known as the toucan method. Basically, the toucan's ability was that tropical plants had a size bonus. But when you use a full army of toucans instead of 1, your plants can literally grow the size of the earth. Just look at these monsters. However, when people first heard about the toucan method, they didn't really give it a chance because there were no good tropical plants to actually use it. The only good tropicals at that time were coconuts and the feijoa. But then, after some digging, some players found something insane. The honeysuckle, which isn't even a tropical plant, somehow worked with the toucan. And these things grew massive, like a little too massive. There were honeysuckles clocking tens of thousands of kilograms, literally shattering the economy. Just take a look at these. However, after players started experimenting, this guy by the name of MavYouTube apparently found out that you could grow these massive honeysuckles, worth 1 sextillion, by using 100 of every sprinkler in the game. Yes, I mean 100 of every single one. I'm talking about the sweet soaker sprinkler, which only made melon-type plants big, and even the spice spilt sprinkler, which only gave a size boost to spicy plants, and all the other sprinklers that don't even affect it. This made the honeysuckle worth 1 sextillion, or is it actually? Well, after people did some research, they found out that this guy was actually in a modded version of Grow a Garden, meaning he had hacks to boost the size of the honeysuckle due to the weird lighting in the game. Meaning, he actually faked getting 1 sextillion using the honeysuckle. And that also means that every YouTuber who claims they got a massive plant by stacking sprinklers is fake. So in reality, the honeysuckle was just worth... The plant you are looking at on your screen is worth more than 1 million raccoons. No, you heard it right. 1 million raccoons. Not 10 raccoons, not 1,000 raccoons. 1 million raccoons. But there's a catch. The chances of you finding this plant is 1 in 150 quintillion. What that means is this plant is basically impossible to ever witness. The odds are so astronomically low that several lifetimes of players would never even come close to seeing it. Yet, this plant still exists somewhere. Now, the plant I'm talking about is called the invisy flower, which, as the name suggests, is completely invisible. Our journey begins with a single message from Jandel while hosting an admin abuse. Try to find some alien-like fruit, but in some rare chances, the fruit can be fully invisible. This one message started the hunt for the invisiflower, but you see, the invisiflower can only be obtained during the alien invasion event, which happens only during admin abuses. Basically, the alien invasion event spawns UFOs around the map that give your plants the alien-like mutation, and there's no other way to get it. However, this mutation has extremely unique features that can be found nowhere else in the game. As you probably know, most mutations in the game affect the entire plant. For example, the gold mutation transforms the entire model to gold, but the alien-like mutation, on the other hand, transforms the individual parts of the plant, and each part can turn partially invisible or completely invisible. There's a 50-50 chance that each individual part becomes partially or fully transparent. Since which parts are chosen to be invisible and how many for random, it's possible to get plants that are entirely invisible. And surprisingly, that's actually common, the opposite of what Jandel said. For example, if you had many coconuts during the space invasion event, you'd easily find fully invisible coconuts, since the coconut has only one part. But here's where it gets interesting. The rarity of invisibility changes depending on how many parts the plant has. Each part is like a coin flip. One side means partially invisible, the other side means fully invisible. So for something like a coconut, there is only one part present. You only need one coin flip to make the entire plant invisible. However, if we are talking about a grape, which has multiple individual parts that make up the whole grape, the chances are much rarer than the coconut, as many more coin flips need to make each part fully transparent. So this means the more parts or the more detailed a plant has, the rarer it is to be fully invisible. And if we assume that each part has a 50-50 chance to be partially invisible or fully invisible, the rarity of the entire plant exponentially increases if we have more parts. Then that brings us back to the invisy flower, a fully invisible ember lily, due to each part turning fully invisible from the alien-like mutation. But now, you might be wondering, why is the ember lily decided to be the invisy flower and not something like the sunflower, which is statistically rarer? However, according to my research, the ember lily has the most parts of any plant in the game, a total of 67 parts. That means the ember lily is the most difficult plant to get fully invisible, since it has 67 parts, and that means 67 coin flips must be performed in a row, with each flip landing on the exact same side. Now, if that seems really difficult, it is. The chance of performing such an action is 1 in 1 quintillion. But the real question is, how many shekels can you actually sell the invisy flower for? Well, the alien-like mutation has a 125 times multiplier, which means the invisy flower would sell for only 5 million shekels in the game. But if you trade the invisy flower to a player, they will probably offer around 1 undecillion. However, the real question is, how much money can you actually sell an invisy flower for in real life? Well, I would probably value it at $1,500 since no one really needs the invisy flower. But the craziest thing about the invisy flower is that it isn't even the richest or rarest fruit to ever exist. Actually, it's not even close. We are just scratching the surface because there are fruits that are much rarer than the invisy flower. How am I supposed to fit 1 undecillion on this paper? On paper, the bone blossom is worth 420 quintillion. Considering we have $1 bill, this is 420 quintillion dollars. However, if we stack each dollar bill on top of each other, we would reach Proxima Centauri. Now, if we had $1 sextillion, which is the honeysuckle, and stacked it on top of each other, we would reach 11.6 light years. But if we stacked undecillion $1 bills, we would have a money tower 100 million times taller than the observable universe. Okay, so now that we have our new scaling system, let's go on to the next plant. The plant you're looking at right now is one of the biggest mysteries in grower garden history. And without a doubt, none of you viewers watching this video have ever seen this thing. But get this, the star-raised mutation is actually much more complicated than you think, and there are entire conspiracy theories revolving around this mutation. And the craziest thing about the star-raised mutation is that it's so unbelievably hard to get that there is no documented evidence at all. I've searched all throughout YouTube and the Grower Garden Discord server to see if any single image existed of what this mutation actually looked like, but unfortunately, I found nothing about it. So, the images you see on the screen are just concept images. It all begins when Jandel added a new space travel event, which gives your plants the galactic mutation. But Jandel also said that there is an Easter egg hidden in the space travel event. But he also gave us a hint, what goes up must come down. Now, there have been false explanations that sugar apples costing only 4 Robux during the event instead of 800 Robux was the Easter egg, but this was just a visual bug that was later debunked. So what really is the star-raised mutation? Well, there is a really popular theory that it has to do with apples, or sugar apples, since the quote, "What comes up must come down," said by Isaac Newton, literally refers to gravity, which Isaac Newton discovered. One quiet afternoon, Newton sat in his garden, and suddenly, an apple fell from the tree beside him. Then Newton looked at the apple and wondered, why does it always fall straight and not uppy? He began thinking, if the earth pulls the apple down, could the same force be pulling the moon around the earth? That question changed everything. Then he realized, There must be a force that acts between all objects, from apples to planets, and he called that gravity. And that's why people think it has to do with the sugar apple, since the apple that fell on Newton was the reason he discovered gravity. But actually, this theory was partially incorrect. As you probably know, while in space, there are these asteroids floating around the map which you can parkour to. This tells us that we are in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. But if you go on the very highest asteroid with 4 or more people, all the asteroids will come crashing down, and you have a 0.4% chance to get the star-used mutation. Now, immediately, you should realize that getting this mutation is extremely difficult. Not only do you have to wait for the space travel event, which is already rare, but you also have to collaborate with 4 other people and just pray the 0.4% chance works in your favor. But the reason I'm even talking about this mutation is for the next plant, which might be the most insane one yet. What you are looking at on your screen right now is by far the rarest plant in all of Grower Garden. The chances of getting this plant are either 1 in 1 cedicillion or 1 in 300 duovigintilion. For comparison, there are literally quinvigintilion atoms in the entire universe. And just to give you a reality check, this right here is a zoom out of the whole observable universe. Literally every dot is an entire galaxy. Yeah, see this? Now imagine having to pick one specific atom out of the vigintillions from the universe, and that's still billions of times more likely than getting this plant in Grower Garden. So as you probably know, to get the invisiflower, you need to get 67 coin flips on the alien-like mutation to make the plant completely invisible. But that's just one of the mutations you can get, which requires coin flips to change the appearance of the plant. There are actually 2 more mutations that are even more interesting and weird. But before we dive into the first mutation, we need to understand the backstory of it. Well, if you're a Roblox player for any amount of time, you've probably heard of this game called Natural Disaster Survival. It came out in 2008 and it's a Roblox classic. The main goal of the game, to survive natural disasters. But if you look closely, the volcano event is literally the exact same as the volcano event in Grower Garden. The entire model is the same, even the disaster warning is identical. And this volcano event in Grower Garden gives the molten mutation. However, unlike the alien-like mutation, which has a 2-choice option, a 1 in 2 chance for each part of the plant's model becoming invisible, the molten mutation has 3 choices, a 1 in 3 chance for each. The odds are equal for the part turning red, orange, or yellow. But as we know, the Ember Lily has 67 parts, so if you wanted a fully orange Ember Lily, you'd need to win rock, paper, scissors 67 times in a row. Since there's a 1 in 3 chance to win 1 round, the chances of that happening are 1 in 1 nonillion. That's 10 raised to the power of 31. However, let's say you wanted a fully orange invisiflower. That would mean you need to perform 67 coin flips in a row, landing on the same side, and win rock, paper, scissors 67 times in a row, both at once. Now the chances of that happening exponentially increase to 1 cedicillion. That's literally halfway to Google on the naming scale. But wait, we can do much better than this. The galactic mutation, which comes from the space travel event, has the coin flip characteristics too. Each part can turn neon or purple, which by itself is a 1 in 150 quintillion chance. But if you combine all the chances from the alien-like mutation and the molten mutation, we get 300 duovigintilion. That's 10 to the power of 71, guys. 10 raised to 71.